Hi friends, and welcome back to Crick Vidya's IPL podcast. After a few days break, we are now back with a comprehensive mid-season review of IPL 2020. Each team has now played 7 matches, with the reverse leg beginning today with CSK taking on SRH. So today we look at each team, discuss their performance till date, and questions that have still remained unanswered, and get views from our guests. So we'll probably start from the bottom. So today we are joined by Abhinav and Manju. Hi guys, and welcome to the podcast.
Pleased to be
Hi.
back. Hi,
Yeah,
pleased to
it's a
be back,
pleasure.
Sunil.
And as usual, I'm joined by my co-host Yasir,
Hi,
who'll
hi.
be taking the discussion forward today. So Yasir, let's start from bottom to top. So let's
Okay,
start with Kings 11.
okay. So we'll like Sunil said, we'll go team wise, and then we have some general questions in the end, which we'll discuss as well. So Kings 11. My first question to you guys, and we can probably start with Manju is: have they got their playing 11 right? Do they know their playing 11, or more importantly, do they know their four overseas players?
Yeah, the problem about playing 11 is that they haven't been confident with a single 11 so far. They have made too many sweeping changes. So at this stage, still you can say that they are searching for their 11. And considering like the Jordan and Maxwell, like if they trust them, I still feel they should persist with them. Because a few events also not in their control have happened. Like you can say a short run or the just a six falling just short in that last match. So few uncontrollables which they can't do anything. It may not reflect in the points table. So I think the best combination for them was the recent one where they have both Jordan and Maxwell. So they should persist with it.
Abhinav, what are your views?
Um, the only thing I think they've gotten right is their opening combination. I
Yes.
think that's the only thing that they've gotten right. Everything else has otherwise gone down south. Like they're standing in the table. I mean, they're not able to, like Manju sir said correctly, they're not able to put their faith in one single 11. They're constantly chopping and changing, and when teams start chopping and changing too much, it is a sign that things are really not going right for them, for that side. And Kings 11 are just showing why things are not right. I mean, they bought Cottrell for so much money, and unfortunately he's not delivered. I think that 30 run over, I think, dented his confidence massively. And then even Jordan has not stood up in the 3-4 matches that he's played. Maxwell has been woefully out of form. uh, Among the overseas players, only Nicholas Pooden has shown some flashes of brilliance, but otherwise hardly anything. And even in amongst, they're not. I mean, their tactics have gone all wrong. I mean, you are batting somebody like Sarfraz, who's more suited to batting somewhere in the top four, maybe towards the top four, maybe at number three. You're batting him down at number 6 or 7, where he's supposed to being asked to finish, but he's not exactly a finisher. I mean, he's somebody who needs to be the bit of who needs to consolidate and anchor the innings, be a bit of a link player between the openers and the middle order.
Yeah.
Sarfraz is perfect for that role, and they haven't used him properly. The only player they're using properly is Ravi Bishnoi. Otherwise, and he's done brilliantly for them. And I think that a major thing, major kudos has to go to Kumble for that, because I mean, he's as a former leg spinner himself, he's clearly backing that the youngster. I mean, he had a fabulous under 19 World Cup, and he's just showing why he's such a bundle of talent. I mean, every game he's come on, he's threatened to create some chaos amongst opposition lineups. So he's those the opening pair and Ravi Bishnoi have been the only positives for them.
Yeah.
Other things, I mean, they are too messed up.
Too much. Sunit, what are your views on this thought and the way KL Rahul and Mayank Agarwal usually have approached the batting, in the sense that the top run getters, you find both their names, but the team is languishing right at the end. And this strategy of KL Rahul sort of anchoring the innings, because except for the match against RCB, KL probably has been scoring at around 120 strike rate, when we all know he's capable of much more than that.
So I think it is a function of his confidence in the middle order, and their middle order has actually failed to deliver. So they were banking on Amandeep or Sarfaraz Khan and even Deepak Huda, at least two of them to come good, and none of them have performed consistently. And on the top of that, Maxwell again has not been giving them any returns. So I think the middle order consistency is the problem, and that is what is impacting the openers also. So openers are again feeling pressurized to attack as well as not lose their wickets, and so KL has taken upon himself that he will not get out, and as he said in one of his comments that uh, the uh, the partnership strike rate or the thing that is more important than looking at standalone strike rate. So I think that middle order not performing is one problem. Second is their pace attack. Cottrell or Jordan have not been able to give them the returns. Jordan was to be their death over specialist, but he has not been able to perform at death. And the third problem is the combination. And I think if you have Mujib coming in at number 7, I think there is some problem with that team. So they need to clearly figure out how well they can have their team combination, and they need to probably. So they have the team that they have. So now they have to show confidence and back players so that they can at least make some comeback. And I agree with Yasir's original point. I think those 2-3 crucial moments not going your way, I think that plays a huge part. We saw it with RCB last year. I think their campaign is very similar to what happened to RCB. They lost to KKR in a match where 54 were required of 3 overs. And again, Mumbai also, Hardik Pandya, uh, that 1 over costed them. So that is something that has happened to their campaign. So they have quite a few questions to answer, and the I think the good way forward would be to trust the middle order and just go out with an all attacking opening pair. Um, they wanted to try Gale, but again Gale got
Food
injured,
poisoning.
so food poisoning, and so he's not available. So not many things going right for them. I think they just need to now back players and have a strategy which can be very aggressive so that they can win.
Okay. So if I have to ask you one recommendation or one change that you would suggest, Manju, for Kings 11, what would that be? And I'll have the same question for Abhinav as well.
The thing is, they have given games to Prabhsimran and Arshdeep. So these two people have come without emotional baggage, and they have shown a little bit of promise. So I think if they promote these two youngsters and then try to work out the rest of the combination, it will be good for them, because the others set players you can't change. So apart from that, there's nothing much they can do, because if they again chop and change the wicket keeper, change the order, then it's not going to work well for them.
Abhinav?
Uh, for me, it's something that KL Rahul has to show as a leader. The function of a captain is also, it's not just about making his that he should be performing up to the level that is expected of a captain, but he also is ready to trust the players lower that are coming after him to be able to do the job. He should not take it upon himself to do everything. He's not superhuman here. I mean, he has to. The function of leadership has to be that he distributes his responsibilities around to those around him and empower those people who are coming in after him. So he needs to just play his natural game and not think about anchoring the innings like to play to stodge down and anchor the innings. He should let the players after him take up the responsibility and say that, okay, that my captain has given us the start. The captain has given us the start. We need to go out there and ensure that we are able to finish the job off properly. So I think as a captain, he needs to show more trust in his in the players who are with him in the 11 that he's chosen, and like Madhu sir said, no chopping and changing should be done. stick to the 111 that you have, to one particular 11, and give the players the security to go out there and be able to, to use the cliched coaching language, express themselves out onto the field. So Rahul has to learn, at least understand that captaincy is not only about ensuring that he gets his runs. He needs to ensure that he has to inspire the confidence in the players after him to also to pull up their baggage and say that we are also here.
Exactly. And I think there are a lot of players who can play at 120, 130 strike rate, but there are not many players who can play at 150, 160 sort of strike rate, which KL Rahul can do and which he's not
Exactly.
doing obviously. Okay, so now we move to the next team, and it is, I think it's a surprise because if we are going in the reverse order, that we'll be discussing CSK
Yes.
at this juncture, because starting before the IPL season, I think all of us, or at least most of us, had CSK in our final four. So this has been the biggest surprise, I think, for most of us. So I'll start with Sunit here with regards to CSK. Sunit, where is the firepower? Where will they get their batting firepower?
So I think their campaign actually started on the wrong foot. They lost two of their major players who were, I think, integral to their strategy, and that is where it hit them. Plus the COVID, where they were not able to practice for a week or so, and I think with the older generation being in the team, they actually needed that a lot. So that is why I think they've struggled in the first few matches, and people looked out of sort. Kedar Yadav did not look like he was wanting to even bat, even Murli Vijay for that matter. So I think that is their problem, and the answer uh, would lie in, I think, going with a little different strategy. As I've been saying earlier, also, I think Sam Curran could be a good opener, and Sam Curran along with maybe. Watson, and then Faf and Raidu in the middle order. That gives them a much more stable top four, and gives Sam Curran uh, a license to go in the power play overs. And so that is a better strategy, and I think that can pay off for them. And the middle order, Dhoni comes at 5, and then they have their all-rounders, uh, Jadeja and Bravo. So I think that could be one strategy. And second thing, apart from firepower in batting, I think they're also lacking that express pace. So they are not able to fit in Hazelwood or Ngidi in their team, just because their batting needs international players more than bowling. So I think that is where the combination is going wrong. So backing Karan maybe could be the answer. And I think for that matter, they have Raturaj also. So that could be the other option.
Manju, what would your feedback be or views be on possible changes that CSK can do in the playing 11, in the order of players as well as in the playing 11?
Currently, there is no Indian batsman who is very much in form. So there is a compulsion to play Watson and Faf. So that is the reason they can't have a Hazelwood in their bowling attack. But so far, the Indian duo Shardul and Deepak are doing okay. So maximum they can do is they can either replace Bravo and try to bring in Imran Tahir. That is one way. It will add an edge. So that gives them the cushion of maybe they don't need to play two Indian leg spinners like they're doing today. So
Right,
that one slot they can maybe get in Jagadisan or Ruturaj based on their plans.
right,
And
right.
Jagadisan wasn't bad. He didn't score blaze away, but at least he batted better than most of their previous selections.
Hmm.
So we can
Right,
give him more opportunities.
right. Abhinav, what would your views be on this?
Quite similar to Manju sir, I think they did not persist with Ngidi after the first two games, especially after he got whacked by Jofra Archer of all people at Sharjah, which is really, I mean, it's a bit of a bowler's graveyard. So I mean, Ngidi fell prey to the mauling of Sharjah, and Hazelwood did well in the one game that he got. He bowled pretty well, but I think because the desperation to try and give it themselves additional batting firepower, they had to bring back Bravo after his recovery from injury, and that just meant that, I mean, they could not keep Hazelwood in their side. And but yes, I mean, Imran Tahir needs to play. I mean, they really need to find a way to bring Tahir in. I mean, maybe say, I would say somewhere Watson is really not contributing much to them now. I mean, maybe they need to give Ruturaj Gaikwad. They batted Ruturaj Gaikwad, poor guy, in at spots that he's really not suitable to bat. Batting him at number 5 and number 4. He is not somebody who's built to play in the middle order here.
in his first season also.
Exactly. This is his first proper season of
too much pressure on a young.
And his game is built around being being an opener. So I mean, at least one good thing they did was a positive thing they've done today is that they finally given Sam Curran the chance to go out there and open. And I mean, it's a good move. It's a positive move from CSK after quite a while. So maybe Sam Curran should open alongside Ruturaj Gaikwad, have Faf and Raidu stabilizing the middle order, and then MS at 5, then the two all-rounders in Jadeja and Bravo, and then play one of Karn Sharma or Piyush Chawla alongside Imran Tahir. Because right now, with the pitches now it is becoming increasingly clear that the pitches are slowing down very quickly. And I mean, even in Sharjah, I mean, the pitches, I mean, you're not getting the 200 plus games now there even. So I think it's high time that CSK finds because somebody like Tahir, despite being 40 now, I mean, he's still good enough to find enough bite and purchase from the tracks.
And he has played in PSL, so he knows these grounds pretty well.
Exactly, he knows how the tracks behave. He knows the angles of the ground, so he'll be able to understand how what kind of how does he need to bowl. And he's one of the wiliest T20 spinners of wide ball spinners that there are in world cricket. So I think they have to find a spot for him, because he'll bring a lot more in terms. He'll bring a lot to that CSK team, not just in terms of skill, but also in terms of the boundless energy that he has. I mean, it just gets encapsulated by him running the laps of the ground whenever he takes a wicket.
Exactly.
So I mean,
he has pandemic-proof celebrations also. He runs.
Oh yes,
I know.
he
maintains the social distance.
Yeah.
He'll be the only bowler to have socially distant celebrations. So he'll be able to.
In the CPL, he used to run till Simran Hetmyer at sweeper and then bump fist. So that's the safest you can be as far as celebration is concerned.
Exactly. So, but yeah, he brings Imran Tahir will bring a lot more in terms of spirit to CSK. And here's the thing. It's just 7 games in. We know CSK are a bit of a slow burning. They are a bit like a biryani.
Yes.
Right.
Slow burning. They'll take their time to cook. But back end, be rest assured, because the inconsistency of the teams around them, it will not be surprising if CSK somehow sneak in at 4th.
Yeah, and I think Abhinav, like you rightly said, I think, and even Manju was talking about, Tahir is critical because ultimately main control of Dhoni is spinners. Exactly. And he's not getting that control from his existing playing 11. I mean, once he gets that control through spinners, he will control the match, and that is what is missing. And that thing is more important than any batsman, than any other. Dhoni should himself be comfortable.
Exactly.
So now
because Dhoni is a master tactician of how to handle spinners. His brain functions like that of a chess grandmaster when he's handling the spinners. So and Tahir is the perfect guy who will give him that control of the middle overs, because that is where CSK's bowling is getting a little taken apart by the teams, opposition teams, especially the teams that have very power-packed middle orders.
Right.
So that is where somebody like Imran Tahir will be so crucial for MSD in the
Break,
second half of the
yeah,
season, and
break
quicker
partnership.
they bring him
The better.
into the scheme, the better it is for their chances.
Fine.
Also,
Now I'm
the
asking.
dot ball
Sorry.
percentage is hurting Chennai. That is one thing.
Dot ball. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Because they
Exactly.
don't
So,
have, like, if suppose they
big.
pick Jaggi or Ruturaj, at least they will run hard, and so they can, like, for a change they can look at RCB. Even Shivam
Ah,
Dubey, Virat Kohli, all have been very eager to run between the wickets. So maybe
true.
a little
And I
change of
think this
the
is something that has been pointed out by commentators as well, that there is certain lack of intent coming from the
yes,
playing 11. I mean,
yeah,
Jagdishan run out, then the way overall there's,
yes.
so I don't know, maybe. So
Way too
now
much
I
chopping and
Many times,
changing.
like,
way too much
there is a 6 and a 4 at the start of the over, then there are 4 dot balls. So
four dot
Ah,
balls, yeah,
the effect is nullified, and it
nullified.
also
Exactly.
allows the opposition to bowl more time at one
At
batsman. So
one particular
exactly,
batsman.
all
Yeah.
exactly.
those things have to be addressed.
And
So
here's the thing:
now,
the fact that they're chopping and changing too much. It's not CSK.
Yeah,
exactly.
CSK
No, so
has
my
been.
next, I mean,
So,
so my
uh,
next question is on that
yeah,
front only.
that
We have known CSK for a certain. I mean, we could close
stability.
your eyes and you would know for certain traits that CSK
Yeah,
would always show. What has now happened recently just shows that there is some disturbance in that thought process, and there's too much of changes happening, which is
Hmm.
very unlike the management and the captain. So
True.
I'll start with Suneet. Do you, and this is a very controversial question because most of us, all of us are Dhoni fans, etc. Is this the beginning of the end for this type of CSK we know?
so see, we had discussed this in one of our podcast also, that where I said that I would like to see Chennai losing and then see whether Dhoni would make changes or not. We always criticize Bangalore for making too many changes, but the fact of the matter is that if you are not winning, there is no other option. You have to try out something new. So that is what is happening with them, and I think uh, uh, they would need to make changes to their squad, to the core of their squad, so that they can have a new core coming in. And Dhoni could probably be there for maybe another season, but now they need to start planning for the future. And uh, there is the fans would probably not agree, but I think that is inevitable, and
change of
Dhoni
leadership.
might, yeah. So
Yes,
he can at max go for one more season, which is
right.
just coming over in 6 months. But after that, I think they need to seriously look at what role Dhoni will play and start grooming a new leader.
Manju, your comment on this?
No, personally,
Considering that you are sitting in you are in
yeah, yeah,
Tamil
I am
Nadu,
in Chennai
you have to be
right now.
careful. You have
There
to
are
be careful.
glass window behind me.
Yeah. Thank God you have grill.
Yeah, yeah. So Bear Grylls maybe. Yeah. So see, it is a tough thing, but the decision has to be taken, like how Sunit said. So they have to look ahead, and apparently Dhoni also knows who the leader is. That is what the player interviews will suggest. But personally,
Okay.
he's having a good tournament. He's been athletic behind the stumps. The recoil-less gloves are there. Like that day with one glove, he completed a catch. So fitness-wise, there is no restriction for him to stop playing that way. Yes, big hitting, of course. Now he has decided to hit out since the last match. So let's see how that comes out. He was not in touch, but still the glimpses of the old Dhoni do resurface. So that is a call which the management has to take. So that is there. Eventually, it has to be taken. Like Steve Waugh was told that this is your last game. So I think the game is always bigger than anyone. So
Exactly.
Right.
True. True.
yes,
Abhinav?
This is something that I remember Joy Bhattacharya sir having pointed out in the Crickbuzz Live thing during the 2018 auction, that the the time when the CSK team was being made in the 2018 auction, the message is clear. They want to win the trophy now. It was as clear as daylight that the fact that they retained that core of Dhoni, Raina, and Jadeja in the pre-auction retentions, and then brought back Faf, Bravo, and these guys. Faf and Bravo were the two RTMs that they made. It was clear that they want to retain the title now. They do not want to have the hang-ups of succession planning and everything, grooming youngsters and all. I think that's something even Stephen Fleming has said, that we're here to win trophies. We're not here to start doing a succession. And I think the 2-year suspension changed the entire perspective of Chennai Super Kings, because otherwise Chennai Super Kings was a team that would groom the youngsters up for Indian selection. I mean, to think of it, they threw up their greatest gift to Indian cricket was Ravichandran Ashwin, and they had likes of Mohit Sharma, Manpreet Goni, Sudeep Tyagi, and all these guys going on to play for India, because CSK was giving them the chance to be able to do that. But the 2-year ban completely changed their outlook towards how they're looking at the IPL, and the time is here. And but who do they retain when the big auction comes? Who do they retain? They do not have anybody who are who can be said are good enough to be retained for another 3 years. Faf is running on fumes now. Dhoni is on his last legs. Jadeja is not a T20 cricketer. Your archetypical T20 cricketer. Okay, I'm going to invite the backlash from the Jadeja army on Twitter, but he's not a T20 cricketer at
No,
all.
he's not. It's true.
Bravo is coming towards the end of his playing days. Who do they retain? They do not have anybody to retain. So so we are approaching, and the management is the time is coming for the management to press the hard reboot button and go for a complete factory reset.
Or at least they could have, given more games to the youngsters to
Exactly.
find someone to retain. Like
Exactly, they should have persisted with Jagdishan today.
Yeah. Suppose they gave 10 games to someone and they found he's good, they could have retained them.
Exactly.
So
Okay. So now that we have done this controversial topic, we move on to the next team, which is Rajasthan Royals. So I'll start with Suneet. Where are the openers and who are the openers? Suneet, you're on mute.
So I was actually surprised to see that they have so many openers and they still went with Steve Smith to open. So
Water
I didn't
everywhere, not a drop
understand
to
that
drink.
logic. Yeah. So I think the better strategy should have been Steve Smith in the middle order. They have Butler there, and somebody like either Uthappa or Yashasvi Jaiswal should have opened. And then they have Samson, and Samson was already slotted at 3, so Smith could have come at 4, or vice versa. So that, I think, for me is a better strategy, because Robin Uthappa has actually looked out of sort playing in middle order. His game is clearing the infield and timing the ball. So that has actually led to him being caught at the boundary in almost all games. So the better strategy could have been to make him open. And so that is one thing that they did not do. And then in the last game also, they went with Ben Stokes as an opener. So again, hard to understand, because if you have, let's say, Uthappa and Butler opening and then Samson, Smith and Stokes coming, I think that looks a very, very sorted batting attack to me, at least. Yeah. So, and then you have Tewatia coming in. So Tewatia has been the star of the season for them. So they won 2 games just because of him out of 3. So I think now they can't expect him to win them games every time. The other players now need to start firing, and I think Smith needs to stop his needless attacking in the power play and getting out. That's not his forte. Somebody who can do it better should do it.
So Manju, I'll come to you next. So what's troubling Smith, and is Samson once again going to have one flash in a pan kind of a season once again? So both these points.
no, actually, the Smith issue really, maybe I feel that Smith wants to face more balls and he wants to set the tone. So that's why he has started opening. Or maybe like the analyst must have told him something that middle order, you are not suited. So how it works in there, we don't know whether if it is Smith's conscious decision to open, or it is a team management thing that he's best used at the top of the order. At least Sharjah games he did quite well. But then it's a different Smith which we are seeing in this IPL, because he's not known to go hard at the ball. He's someone who plays those flicks and initially gets into the groove, and then but mostly he's been beaten on the inside edge, caught on the inside edge. So it has been a little bit of a queer IPL for Smith in that way. And Sanju, he started very well with the six. Like there was a ill-timed ball which went to the Afrina shop at mid-wicket on Sharjah. So, but after that, like he's had a slump. So I think he should do something to arrest it. Maybe he can start a bit slowly, give himself a bit more time. And also the teams are working him out. Like they have a left armer bowling into his rib cage, and he's getting caught at mid-on or mid-wicket. So he has to do something to iron that, or either he has to decide to duck those deliveries. Very rare thing to do in T20, where your instinct is to play everything. But he should maybe talk to the coach and try to get a way around that. Because if he survives that 10 balls, we see that he can easily have those pull shots in the gap, and he doesn't get dismissed. Even previous year, he was having the same problem. He would pull without rolling the wrist, and he would get caught at mid-wicket. People would keep 2 square legs for him on either side of the crease line and get him caught. So that is something he has to find a way around it.
Exactly. And I think there was this stat that he has the highest strike rate for the short of length delivery against the short of length delivery, but he's also fallen
he's also
multiple times.
Most number of times.
So it's a double-edged sword for him, and I think Mumbai Indians and the other teams are trying that out, because except maybe to some extent the CSK, most teams now have 1 or 2 gun bowlers who will give a ball shot to you and figure you out. So Abhinav, now I come to you, and since this is a favorite topic for most of us, I just give you one word, Rahul Tewatia, and you can just start speaking about him whatever you want to.
I think the find of all the teams in this IPL, I think forget Devdutt Padikkal, forget everyone else, Rahul Tewatia is the thing in this IPL. I mean, that knock in Sharjah, that knock, I would say that was the triumph of human spirit in sports.
Yes.
I think we have lost.
Connection issue. Yeah, we are back.
Yeah, we are back. Abhinav,
that knock that he played.
Your connection is not stable, I guess.
But Tewatia's connection is stable.
Tewatia's connection is very stable.
Tewatia's connection is
So for me, Tewatia's knock in the last match was actually more pleasing when he attacked Rashid Khan. I think him attacking Cottrell was actually seemed easier than what he did in the last match. So that was much more impressive for me.
That's a good point.
Those 3-4s.
And even Parag said that
I think he
told him also that you wait till the 16th over. So there was some sense from both of them.
Yeah.
So now actually
Abhinav,
he's got that confidence.
Right, he has got that confidence. Yeah.
Right. So I was talking about that Sharjah knock. That Sharjah knock was the triumph of human spirit. I mean, from being 8 of 19 and being, it is impossible to think that he would not have been targeted on that finger in the ear picture even more around that time by all the fans. I mean, even Rajasthan fans. But I mean, it was clearly, as a fan, and I was hoping that, boss, please do something. Please, you were feeling bad for him.
Exactly.
And when he got that first 6 in that 18th over, you could just feel that something. When he got that first 6 of Cottrell, I think you could see that something was. He was something was bubbling beneath. Now he was suddenly felt that it was like, no, dude, I can do this now. I can do this. And then he just kept, and I think it was also Cottrell's bad bowling. Not one delivery he aimed for that block hole. Not one delivery he was aiming at the Yorker. I think he took that Ashish Nehra advice of the Yorker being the most overrated way too seriously. I think he took that advice way too seriously. They was sweeping him, for God's sake. He swept the 6 of him in.
Right.
And I think that Tewatia's inning and the way his redemption is, there was this theory, right, that you should retire out batsmen if they are not really, if they are not in the flow, or if they are not so that it throws that theory completely out of the
Yeah,
window. That
out of the window.
Exactly.
sport is not like other things in life. There is redemption
Exactly.
possible at every
It gives
corner.
you chance to redemption. I mean, it is that Stephen Fleming quote in that Siddharth Monga
Right.
article
Hmm.
that you don't never throw in the towel. You just
That
don't.
struggle is part of the sport, and that's why you watch it,
Huh.
and you have to
Exactly.
allow that to
And
happen.
so, but that knock in the Sunrisers Hyderabad game was even better. I mean, I think he was taking on Rashid Khan like a seasoned pro. The way he went after Rashid Khan, and it was his takedown of Rashid Khan in that 18th over that just completely flipped the switch on for on Sunrisers Hyderabad. Because if when they when Warner and all the fielders saw that their best bowler is being taken down in that fashion, it just it sent down a ripple effect on everybody else. So I think that
Exactly.
knock was much even better than that epic of Sharjah. So I think he
Exactly.
is definitely the find of the IPL, and I think long may the reign of Tewatia continue.
May
Long
this
may it
be the year
continue.
of
It
may
deserves
this be
it.
the year of Rahul
Year of
Tewatia.
Tewatia. Exactly.
Okay.
Let 2020 do a Tewatia for us.
Okay, fantastic. So now we come to our next team, which is SRH, and so my first question is for Sunit. Is SRH Rashid Khan and Rashid Khan SRH?
No, actually, SRH is about Rashid Khan and the two openers. So I would say for uh, most of the matches and for most of the wins, these three players are the central role players for them. And if these three players are not performing, I don't think they can win a match. So if these three fail in a particular match, it's too difficult for them to make a comeback. So these three, I think that is the need of the hour, that this number three should reach either 6 or 7, where there are 7 players which are like core of SRH. They have invested in youngsters, and they are actually persisting with them. Natarajan has been a find for them, and Khalil is also coming good now. So those two players can be their future stars and in terms of bowling. And then Priyam Garg, Samad, and uh, Abhishek. So those three in the middle order, again, they are investing in them. So I think for SRH, this season is more about planning for the future, which is like contrast to CSK's strategy. And I think that is what they are doing. And but they have a good squad, and if the confidence that they are showing in the youngsters, I think they still have that potential to reach that number 4. So I'll not be surprised if everything starts coming together for them. But that combination problem with Kane Williamson playing, that is something that there is no solution to. So I don't know how they can solve that, because I think Nabi sitting outside is, and I think it should not be allowed after what he did in CPL.
Okay. Manju, we'll come to you next. How do SRH fix their fifth bowler problem? Because in the last 17 overs, the fifth bowler has gone for 187 runs, which includes Abhishek Sharma, which includes Samad. So how do they try and fix this big gaping hole? Because most teams will target, because you have Rashid Khan, teams know that they can play him out safely, and then they can target the fourth, fifth bowler who is possibly the weaker link. So how can SRH change that?
So one way is like how they went today. They played Shahbaz Nadeem as a fifth bowler. But another way is by two words, again controversial, is Vijay Shankar. So if Vijay Shankar can fire with the bat and he can take over this middle order responsibility, and he also provides 2 or 3 overs, he will give the ideal cushion for us to induct Nabi into the side. So basically, Rashid and Nabi play well together, and also Nabi can bowl in the power play, also handy lower down the order. So they may have to leave out Williamson just for the sake of team combination. Nothing wrong on his. And we can't break up Warner and Bairstow because 16 innings, 1,000 runs is like What can you ask for?
I mean, you don't. Those numbers can't joke. Those
Yeah,
numbers aren't a joke.
exactly.
And I think
So,
it's a make or break season for Vijay Shankar now.
Yes.
If he is not able to
Hmm.
perform this season, SRH will let him go.
I
And
mean, he has to perform. He is an Indian player. I mean, for whatever said and done, he
his
was part of the World Cup team. You can't. He has to take greater responsibility.
Right.
his batting contribution has been next to nothing, I think, for this season and for most of the previous seasons also. So his bowling, he's been able to pitch in for a over or two, but batting has to be like a number 4. He's batting like he's a youngster uh, who doesn't have that confidence to actually take on the opposition.
The thing is
Abhi,
that so
Abhinav,
for that.
sorry,
Okay.
I'll just add, just wanted to add to whatever you're saying, is that we have, SRH to some extent has always punched above their base to a certain degree. So do you see them as a championship team really? I mean, are they really good enough to, let's say, finish in the top 4 and then ultimately challenge for the title, or they are more or less going to be a middling team?
They seem to have the ingredients for it. I mean, for one, they have probably the best opening partnership combination amongst all teams. I mean, that statistical number that Manju says 1,000 runs in maybe a season and a half does not lie between Warner and David Warner and Johnny Bairstow. So I think that is one of the biggest positives they have. Second is Rashid Khan, of course. I mean, numbers will numbers speak for themselves, and his presence speaks for him. His presence speaks for itself. They seem to have some good. Sunit Bhai also said they seem to have invested a lot of faith on a few of the younger players, which they have always done. Sunrisers is a team that has liked putting their faith on younger players, giving them a chance. So I think in the middle of something they should do. I mean, for the sake of team combination, Kane Williamson needs to be left out. I mean, he's a brilliant player. I mean, 2018, I think he was the batsman of the season for them and in the IPL that year. So they have to leave him out. Maybe bring in Mohammad, or if Allen is match fit, give somebody like Fabian Allen a go, because he's a bit of a wild card. Very few players have played him, have seen him bowl, or have bowled to him, and I think he is a dynamite on the field. I mean, you would not mind. He takes probably some of the most ridiculous outfield catches that you can ever that have been taken in T20. I think that's one option that they can look
Allen
to try. I
also-
mean, if they don't want to try now.
He has shown good technique against these off cutters and slow
Off
balls.
cutters. Yeah.
Most
Exactly.
of his sixes have been hanging back on the back foot and hitting. So I think he may come good.
He could be a bit of or if they want to fortify their pace attack, they maybe trying out somebody like Jason Holder now. I mean, could be a good option. He'll give them the overs with the new ball. I mean, he'll offer them control with the new ball, more importantly, because unfortunately, one of the greatest strengths they had was that they would always strike in the power play. They would always go to in the power this time. They're taking a break in the power play overs, and that's hurting their chances to restrict a team to a better total. Or if they're chasing down, then it hampers their. So I think Jason Holder would offer them that control with the new ball and maybe get them a wicket or two in that period. So I think that's one option they can consider, and give Priyam Garg the license to bat at 4. Tell him that, boss, because he's shown maturity beyond his years. He's definitely shown maturity. He's somebody who, if by Warner and you are the man and our anchor for the middle order, he will be able to perform that role well. I mean, he's definitely shown that he's no slouch with the bat. He had very well. He's got the shot that's perfect for T20 cricket. Neither he can go hard, but he's also somebody who can play very restrained, calculated cricket. So I think that's something they should do. I mean, they need to give him the run at number 4, because he's not exactly at number 4 of your power, somebody who can hit powerfully, and that's where somebody like Vijay Shankar could come in. Vijay Shankar is not a number 4 batsman. I think that's something that everybody in India has made the misconception of, that he can bat at 4. He cannot. I mean, he is best as your
including
number
one
5,
days,
number 6.
including one
Exactly.
days.
He's best for to bat at 5 or 6, because he's got a more explosive range of shots. He can and he's much better against pacers towards the back end of the innings. He plays pacers very well. Got a very watertight technique against them. So I think he should be told that Vijay Shankar should be told that, boss, you bat at 5, you help finish the innings off, and give Priyam, and tell Priyankar that you anchor the middle order. You handle the. Here are the keys to the middle order at number 4. Your game, and you realize the inning out from there. I think that's something he can do very well. So I think they need to give Priyankar that license to
Perfect.
to be able to bat freely at 4. And I think that if maybe batting Priyankar the spot higher, that could give them a bit more power towards the end of the innings, because I think that's somewhere that's been another issue with them. They're not able to finish out innings positively. So I think that's the change they can make. I think maybe batting Priyankar at 4, and then maybe and sacrificing Williamson, or maybe one of Nabi Rashid or Jason Holder, depending on Nabi Allen or Jason Holder, depending on what kind of team they're facing or the conditions that they're having. So maybe taking that matchup, maybe leave that 4th overseas spot open to play at the matchup card.
Fair. Okay. So now we move on to the next team, which is KKR, and I'll start with you, Sunit. To some extent, KKR have been defined by 2 overseas marquee players, which is Sunil Narayan and you have Andre Russell, right? Now, Sunil Narayan, there is a cloud over his action, and Andre Russell, while he has delivered to a large extent in terms of his bowling, especially the death overs, his batting has still left is still not short of what we expect. So how do you think KKR can manage these 2 factors going forward? Because that's going to be crucial for them.
So I think Sunil Narayan was actually not performing as an opener, and Rahul Tripathi has been fabulous for them in the 2 innings that he has played. So that gets sorted for them, that Sunil Narayan doesn't need to open. So his action actually has now, there are 2 strategies that can be taken. One is that you do not risk him being reported again, and you just get him in during the later, almost a semi-final or a final, so that he can just at least play those important games. And second is you try to bring in a replacement like a Green, and the Tripathi opens, and they have enough bowling options. So Russell they can't drop. So Russell will continue, and they can just hope that he will find his touch. So he's shown glimpses where he hit Udana for 3 boundaries in a single over, and I think that will give them confidence. And they have enough bowling options. So even if Sunil Narayan is not there, and they have Rahul Tripathi, they still have 6 bowling options, and I think that is good enough for them. So they should not look for getting 7 bowlers that they tried in a game or 2. Where they were looking a batter short. So I think that strategy will not work. So I think they have more or less settled lineup in the last match. Instead of Narayan, a Green should have come and not Banton, because they just again had to push Tripathi, and that was not a very sound strategy in my opinion.
So, Manju, what are your views on this? And also the shuffling of Tripathi to some extent. I mean, he performed as an opener, then he was asked to go down. Go bat load down the order. Then he came back, opened, scored runs, went again down the order, neutralized him completely. So, what is your view on this shuffling and to some extent lack of clarity?
Actually, since Rahul Tripathi started playing his cricket itself, he's been an opener. Like since his early days in Pune, like he has played in Deccan Gymkhana, PYC, all of these grounds as an opener. So his strength is again, he clears the infield, strike rotation, and he likes to play long innings. And also Dhoni has shown the way by using him in Super Giants as an opener in that season, 2017. So I think if that slot is available for him, they should definitely go and at least persist with him in this slot. So he will give them a stable opening partnership. Then probably if you feel that middle order is not good, you can have Dinesh Karthik move up maybe to 3, as he did in one game. And recently we've seen Dinesh has hit form also. And regarding Naren replacement, see if you want good death bowling, like since you've used Naren in the death in the last game before he was unfortunately got banned, so you can go for Lockie Ferguson. It's a good option. You the pace, it's not easy to hit, and he's able to land the Yorkers. But if you feel spin wise, you go for a like for like replacement, then Chris Green is not a bad option. He's come with his remodeled action. He bowls well to left-handers. He's able to bowl away from their hitting arc without having being wided, and that way he's become cleaner in his bowling action and good on the field as well. But if you want, like, a left arm spinners are doing very well in this IPL. It may not reflect in the wickets, but their economy has been good, like Akshat Patel and others. So you can go. It won't be a bad like gamble to go for Manimar and Siddharth.
And what happened to Kuldeep Yadav? I mean, he's a considered to be a excellent, outstanding spinner.
The signs
have they
were
not used him properly?
The signs were not at all promising because there was a game where the opposition is 8 down and Kuldeep is bowling his first over. So maybe they have to have a look at what is his role as the prime premier
And
spinner.
I think Varun Chakravarti's performance has given them. He's out bowled. I think the management has greater confidence in Varun Chakravarti now compared to Kuldeep to that extent.
Because
regards to matchups, if you see, like, always the ball spinning into the batsman he's not going to dominate the bowler. Like even Brad Hogg made a beautiful resurgence in T20 in his 40s. So I don't think why they should not give Kuldeep the confidence.
So there was this one theory that some experts had, that considering these pitches to be relatively slow, with his action, which is not very fast, he's more like a conventional orthodox bowler. So a lot of batsmen can just sit back on their back foot and hit him out, and he'll have greater success on relatively faster bounces, pitches, say Australia.
It has been seen that batsmen may be able to read him better because of the extra time. But still, if you let it hang in the air, like we have the example of Poonam Yadav from the women's team, definitely you can deceive batsmen in the air, get them stumped. So I think core skills don't change, right, in any format. So they should rethink the role of Kuldeep, because it is unfair. Like someone who's playing for the national team.
I think they should send him to CSK till the time at least Dhoni is there for a season or two, and bowl with him.
Like थोड़ा अंदर से ही डालना है, हवा में रखना, and
इधर रखना, इसका पैर नहीं हिलेगा.
Because Dhoni, I think in the CSK review also we said he controls spinners very well, and Kuldeep is just the sort of a guy who would be able to flourish under Dhoni so much. I think it's one, he's not being handled properly by Karthik. Two, I think somewhere it's also a thing of Kuldeep's own skill that batsmen are now starting to read him. They are now figuring out his base. They have seen that he does not have too many variations. He's not somebody who will be able to fire it in very quick through the air because his I think his build does not allow him to rush.
There was a recent shoulder injury. So what has happened is, when the extremes of abduction is there, he finds it difficult to bowl the wrong one on the target before. So that is one thing which even he has himself said that it is being difficult to bowl it. So it comes out slower. So people are able to hang on the back foot maybe and score or hit boundaries.
And we must realize that Kuldeep, whatever said and done, is pretty young, and typically
Yes.
spinners take
Yes.
time to mature. I mean, so
Correct.
they
Exactly.
come with a bang, then people figure them out, then they go and reinvent themselves. So that is going to be a challenge. He needs to
Exactly.
reinvent himself, and if he can then come back strongly, that will define him to
Yes.
that extent.
He's just 24. I think he's
He's a-
23, 20.
Yeah,
I think he's
20, yeah.
24 years. So
So
he has
that's-
enough time.
Yeah. So
That's the
spinners are like
he
old
has
wine,
enough
right?
time to figure out. Exactly.
That
I think
that was the
I
age
think
when
if,
Shane Warne was gone for 186 or something. So
Yeah.
there
I
is
think-
time to mature and yeah.
Yeah.
I think
No, but I think I
Maybe-
agree
may-
that reinventing himself and finding a few more deliveries, a new kind of deliveries, working on that is important for him, because with the current deliveries that he has, I don't think he will be able to give a very strong season as a whole. He would have one or two good games, but neither his confidence is there and people having figured him out. So I think some new balls he needs to figure out and then come back strongly.
And I think that's a larger, Sunit. I mean, larger philosophical question that there is a possibility, and I think we'll see. There'll be few elite players who can play all the three formats, but there'll be certain players who will have to decide which format they want to be in. Maybe Kuldeep Yadav will be more successful as a test bowler, and he should be reconciled with that fact. And he may or may not be. I hope he does, but he may or may not be that good in, let's say, shorter format or white ball, especially T20 format. So I think time will tell. I think this sport is also evolving
And
too quickly.
predictability will help him in test cricket more than
Yeah,
anything else.
exactly.
Yes.
He'll
exactly.
have these
because
small-
because
small variations and all, so he can be better.
Exactly.
exactly
Yeah.
cricket is the game of that you have to have that stock ball and very few variations work in test cricket. That does not hold in T20 cricket. So I think Kuldeep needs to, if he wants to play in white ball cricket, maybe he has to work out a few more variations. Maybe, I mean, I think in Sydney Test that he picked at 5-4, he spent some time with Shane Warne over there. Maybe
Exactly.
you say a session or two with him, maybe trying to understand a bit more of the art of leg spin. I mean, because Warren was a great spinner because he had a lot of variations that he could variations on him. So I think that's something he can spend some time on and understand how he used his variations and in getting batsmen out. So I think
Exactly.
maybe some time with somebody like Shane Warne. I mean, outside the IPL window, I mean, spending some time with Warren, maybe understanding his own, maybe understanding the mindset that guy had, and try and use a bit of his knowledge in and bring that to his own bowling skill. I think that'll help Kuldeep.
That will happen.
But yeah, I mean, for KKR though, I think Varun Chakravarti has been there fine, because I think because of the simple reason that he was not expected to succeed. He was not expected to succeed because I mean we all I mean we knew about Mavi and Nagar Koti and all. We all have very high hopes for them that they'll play for India and all. Varun Chakravarti, we never hope him because after that 8.4 crore and that one game that he got from the hands of Sunil Narayan, and then being bought by for 4 crores with KKR, I think nobody expected that to happen. And the fact that he's been able to do so well for them, he's controlling the middle overs out for them perfectly. He's been,
Perfect.
the middle that KKR needed. I mean, in the Gambhirs, they had Morne Morkel. They used a pacer as a middle overs controller and enforcer in Morne Morkel, and that worked brilliantly for them. And they had Sunil Narayan, of course. So I think that Varun Chakravarti is now giving them that Narayan role, and if Narayan's action is now under the cloud and he's now placed on that warning list, makes sense to not play him all the games now. And Chris Green is a fabulous bowler to have, backup bowler to have in your squad. And his greatest strength is he bowls the power play overs very well. He bowls the power play overs very well. He's done that. He's done that all the time in the Big Bash League, in CPL, and all. In all these, he's been a very good power play overs player. I think he can be used in that Washington Sundar role at the top, at the top of the order, and be told that you bowl in the power play, bowl 3 overs up front, and immediately give that immediately gives them a sense of control, because then they can rotate their bond with a lot more freedom. So and Green can also give is much more stable and reliable as a batsman than Narayan, and a proper dynamite on the field. So I think Chris Green would be a good option to have. I mean, yesterday, why did they play him? If I was making the decision, I would have put Chris Green in instead of Tom, because what KKR sorely lacked was a bit of a middle overs with somebody like Varun Chakravarti already giving them the control. They needed somebody else to complement him at the other end, and Chris Green would have been perfect
If you have seen
for that.
the cotton bolt of David Warner,
Hmm.
like as the ball is going to Varun's hand, his eyes are popping out. Like it's one of the
Oh, yes.
good.
Intimidating. I mean,
Yeah.
a bit like Muralitharan in the
That's
old
like,
days
you know,
when he was.
the first thing I thought about was that Ripley's Believe It or Not. You know, there's a lady who can protrude
I know. She can do that. Her eyes.
Yeah.
eyes. So
Yes.
Varun is almost in that animation.
Okay. Now we move to the next team, and I think this will warm the cockles of heart of a lot of fans who have been perennially wanting their team to really do well and be in a situation where halfway through they are reasonably confident that their team will make it to the playoffs. So Sunit, I come to you. The next team obviously is RCB, and finally, after so many seasons, can we say
7
that
years.
they have finally performed to their expectations? They have found their core, and we are seeing the true RCB from at least what we expect them to be.
I would agree. I think they have actually performed well, and they found their combination early. That was actually a good thing, and the reason for their success. I think, again, as I said, it actually becomes a big factor of your initial few matches. Even in the last season, if that KKR game or a Mumbai game could have gone in their favor, I think the story could have been different last year only. But I think, the changes that they made to their side, Finch coming in, Padikal being given a go straight away, so those were actually really good moves, and those have paid off. And finally, their bowling now looks sorted. They started with the same mistakes by playing Stain and Umesh in the
So there
first
is
few games.
hysteresis.
Actually,
Yeah.
Umesh has 2 runouts from 2 matches on the top of the table.
So but I think they made amends, and now the squad that they have, uh, Zampa and Udana could be playing on the basis of opponents, but apart from that, the squad should not be tinkered with. They have good bowling options, and I think they look set to qualify this year, I think.
So, Manju, do you think the single most important decision in the history of RCB was to convince AB de Villiers to keep? And the second more important decision was somebody convincing Virat Kohli that Washington Sundar can bowl in the power play overs. So, do you think these two, if you have to, have been the most critical factors for RCB?
Very impressive. And
Yeah.
after AB started keeping, they didn't have the compulsion of either bringing Parthiv or George Philip. So to
Right.
justify the combination, and also they started a game where Washington only bowled later. Maybe some lot of serious thought was there, and they started using him how he played for Pune earlier, or how he goes in the TNPL. So that was one of the major fact. Like if he is bowling 3 overs for next to nothing, then immediately it helps good control of the game. And now he started picking up wickets also. So seems to be the template for them to go with Washington and maybe rotate between Morris and the others in the power play. So that is good. And they have a lot of gas in the tank. Sometimes there's Gurkirat who takes the field, doesn't do much, but he's there. If you want, we can have an over from him, or you can have him back. Or otherwise, sometimes they played Siraj as the extra bowler. So then Shivam Dube doesn't have to do any bowling. He played purely as a batsman. And also their running between the wickets has been it has been really good. So even if you see that day we have Kohli and Dube running twos, and they are converting a par over into an extraordinary over. So that is something which really they have done.
So there was this stat, right, that Kohli had just 5 dot balls in his
Yes.
52
Yeah.
that he faced, right?
And he's also running twos in Sharjah. So like, what more can we ask for?
Exactly.
Yes.
So Kohli has a 97 strike rate on non-boundary balls.
Yes.
So that is the
possibly
highest.
one of the highest.
No, that is the highest,
That
and
will be
nobody is really close to him even in that stat for
All
this
things
IPL.
definitely when the playoffs and all come, they will matter. So hopefully, if they keep their consistency, they will this time go through.
Right. Abhinav, I'll ask you a question on whether Finch has performed to the extent that RCB expected, or do you think that there is a potential for some change, tinkering there, maybe getting in Moeen Ali instead of Finch to open as the pitches slow down and you have an extra bowling option? What are your views on that?
I think he has not performed. Unfortunately, he's just got that 150 plus score in the 7 games that he's played till now. I mean, in that win against Mumbai, he got a 50 over there, and where he and even there he started very scratchily. I mean, getting caught on the repeatedly with that incoming delivery from both Bolt and Pattinson. Pattinson even hit him on his on the unspeakables as well. And after that, I mean, it did hurt. He had to change his way of play. I mean, he was starting to play a lot away from the body, and he was taking a more exaggeratedly wide stance in that game, and that worked for him. But unfortunately, he's not really performed. But I think why change things when they're working? So I think it's better continue with Finch at the top, and maybe and look at how they want to on different pitches, how they want to play the matchups of between Udana or Moeen Ali, or see if they can actually drop Finch for Moeen Ali and ask Virat to go up and open the innings, or tell Moeen Ali go and swing for the fences at the top of the order, because and use Moeen Ali as a bit, but he's that's just so maybe, and if they want to do that option, then Kohli can go out there and open with Padikkal, set the tone, and then leave it up to the likes of to ABD, Moeen Ali, and the others to consolidate the innings up and provide in the finishing kick. And finally they have found. I mean, Virat Kohli, the captain in white ball cricket, has been known to do, especially in IPL, has been known to do some wildly crazy, but despite evidence suggesting him not to do it. I mean, bowling Pawan Negi in the last over, or Besson, your specialist death overs bowler. I mean, he's done all that. Even for India, he's not exactly in a great. And finally, good thing since dawned on him finally that that Washington Sundar is somebody who is best used in the power play overs. You cannot use him in the middle overs because he'll not be able to provide the same degree of control that he does in the power play. Even for India, when he's played in T20 cricket, he's almost and always the new ball bowler.
Because
he's almost and always for even.
Sundar has even spoken openly that it is 3/4 length. It is neither forward nor back. I'm going to bowl only that, and it's going to come into the left-hander. But still, it's very difficult to hit. You need extraordinary.
Exactly. It is good to.
So that is the problem.
You can talk the
Nobody has
you have
to get against him.
Exactly. So that's.
So unless he.
That's the and he's hitting those.
Yeah. Unless he makes a mistake, there's no scope for the batsman to get on top of Sundar unless he is having a bad day.
Right. So we move to the next team. Sorry.
And Sundar is giving that control on which they can then set the terms of the game on. They can
Yeah.
set the terms
So
of the game.
previous teams, it used to not be the case. Like there was no spinner to control. So from both ends, there would be boundaries leaking helter skelter, and all fans would be like, again, here we go. So
I mean, at least this year, I think there is some hope that the RCB fans can finally say
yeah,
Isala Cup Namde.
yeah, yes,
This may just be the Namde that
right.
they're looking.
Yeah, yeah.
This may just be the Namde.
Okay, now we move to the next team for which Sunit has been waiting for the past
Yeah.
1.5 hour or 2 hours, and he's dressed for the occasion as well. So, also, I mean, I think most of us, while starting of the season, we knew that the DC has the strong core, which is championship material. So now I'll come to Sunit. What are your views on how they have performed? And do you think that now possibly the depth of the squad is one area where they are getting hurt, because with injuries happening, they may not have the personnel to cover all the bases?
Yeah, so I think undoubtedly they have performed really well. Apart from Mumbai, they have been the team which has shown from the beginning that they have a complete squad with all bases covered. And one of the major factor has been Stoinis, which was a like everybody doubted whether he would uh, be able to perform that finisher role. But him coming good actually sorts out everything for them, because their top four were actually never in doubt. And then there was Hitmaier and then Stoinis. So that has come good for them. And then bowling, obviously, Rabada and Nokia. Nokia has been a really, really good sign up for them. And I think a very critical role has been played by them. So by him. So Delhi is like one of the strongest contenders this year, I would say. MI is the only other team that has looked as complete as DC, or maybe even a bit more. But I think they have serious chances of winning this year. But Pant being injured, so next two games again they would be without Pant, and so Rahane gets a game, and the combination was okayish, which went for, and Rahane needs match time because as you move towards the fag end, pitch is slowing down, so Rahane could play a critical role, and if the par scores or winning scores come to 140, 150, then Rahane is actually very critical and could be like a permanent member of the squad. And then you would not really need players who are not able to perform well against spin. So in that sense, they Rahane gets 2-3 games, which is blessing in disguise in that sense. And so Pant missing out obviously is a setback, but even if they can win maybe one game out of those two, I think they are good.
So, Manju, I mean, to some extent, DC is identified by, to some extent, we have identified DC with Pant and his explosive batting, and which we have seen over the seasons. But this year, Pant has been uncharacteristically calm and little more composed. So, do you think it's a case of bowlers figuring it out, or it's just a change of approach that he himself was brought in, or maybe it's Ponting asking him to bat in a certain way?
Or it could just be he's coming out of a lockdown, so he's still finding his feet. Sometimes it can happen, these explosive players, they may want to, knock it around a bit and spend some time in the middle. So far it has happened in one or two games. He's played very sensibly, and just got the odd boundary or two. So even in this role, he's great for any Indian side, and always will be an asset. So hopefully he's not out for too long. Maybe he could be back by the playoffs at least. Uh, Looking at his injury, the press release says it's a grade 1 tear, I think, groin. So Farhat had treated him. After that next game, he sat out. So now the thing is, challenge for the combination is they are left out Hettemeier to play carry.
Yeah,
That is one thing which, how do they fit both these people? That is one, because we cannot break the South African twins because it's going well for them.
True.
Can they do
So-
a middle of the season trade? Is that possible to get some Indian keeper? I don't know.
They can. I think they can. I think they can. I mean, the rules certainly permit them, and there are a couple of them. I mean, Aditya Tare and all, they are still there, so they may try and get them. But yes, but the
But the
better
game
thing would
theory,
be that
but the game theory approach says that the other teams will not, knowing that this is the problem with DC and DC is a championship.
they'll want to
They may not allow.
exactly.
They will not do that.
They may not
do
allow.
that.
No,
So
they
I
have
So-
think
given for Vasco
even
Lava.
for all these mid-season transfers, I think if any team getting a player enhances their chances for playoff, I don't understand why the other team would let that player go.
Let that happen. Exactly.
And especially
They're
now
not-
because the money, everybody has now become profitable. So it's not
Yes.
even about getting that money or not having to pay that player. So I don't see any mid-season transfers happening from anywhere because of the heat and everything. I think everybody would want his entire 24, 25 players to be available. So I don't see any mid-season transfers, to be honest.
Even
And,
great point there by Sunil bhai, and I think what they can do, I mean, with Pant with that press release coming out that with that grade 1 hamstring tear, they have to make that between Dhawan or Rahane. Playing them both, and what they can use, I mean, they can if they want a bit of the power up front, they can
Carey.
use Carey up as an opener.
Yes.
He has done brilliantly for Adelaide Strikers in the BBL as their opener, and maybe take a Tewatia like on Lalit Yadav, who's a all-rounder from uncapped all-rounder from Delhi and has in the Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy has got some pretty handy finisher. He he can strike at the 150 wala, at 150-160 range quite convincingly, coming in at maybe seven types, and also give them a couple of overs of off spin as well. So that is something they can look at. I mean, maybe take that because here's the thing. I mean, Sunrisers have derived decent enough value out of somebody like Abdul Samad. Nobody saw him, and he's been able to use his strength of unpredictability to harm the bowlers, and so that's it. And Rahul Tewatia too. I mean, he's a lot of the international bowlers have not bowled to him, so he is able to capitalize on that unfamiliarity of them bowling to him, and use his advantage. So I think that's a move they can use and give themselves more greater finishing kick towards the lower order. So that, and have somebody to give Carey the role to go out and become at the top. So they have to make that one choice between Dhawan or Rahane for that, because
I have,
playing them both is a bit
both is not. It will be difficult. I have one question
Similar
for
type
Manju.
of player.
Yeah, I have one question for Manju before we move to the next team and the final team. Do you think, I mean, again, it's regard to Dhawan. With Dhawan, are we slowly seeing or realizing that he may not be the type of opener or the sort of T20 player that now the game demands, and to that extent, he is possibly no longer that kind of a player.
So as Abhinav was indicating, maybe if we can get some more middle order cushioning, it may be a good. It may not be a bad idea to try Stoinis as an opener with Dhawan, so just to balance out the equation. Or you can leave Dhawan and go with Shaw and Stoinis. So since this now the franchise is in a comfortable place with regard to playoffs, like at least nothing is sure, but we still can say that they should qualify. So they can go for this if they want that extra impetus at the top of the order, or even Alex Carey is a good option. But somehow they have to get a way to bring Hetmeyer inside, because see, even ultimately he also needs to be in touch.
true.
Right.
True. But I think all the suggestions that Abhinav has made actually change the team considerably. Even his suggestions for the previous two teams, if I look at it. So I think with half the season gone, teams would not want to change their strategy entirely. So
Right.
a Watson might not get dropped, and a Dhawan might not get dropped now.
Yeah,
So it should have been, if it had to be done, it had to be done at the
early.
start of the
3
season.
games, 4 games maybe. Yes.
Yeah.
So
So
we
so in
now,
that sense, yeah. But
yeah,
I think Shikhar Dhawan will be persisted with.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
he's just carried his bat in a T20 recently.
I mean, however
Yeah.
unsuccessful it may have
And
been, but he did carry his bat through.
He
So
did
yeah.
carry his
But
At a decent,
But the
decent
thing is
pace.
that those
Yeah.
kind of things might become much more valuable now. So
Mhm.
if a player is able to carry at a 120, 125 strike rate, while
Yes.
others are able to hit
Around
and
him.
they reach
Around him.
160, 170 run mark, I think it's a winning total.
And we all know with
Yeah.
Shikhar Dhawan in the critical matches, possibly in the knockouts, you know that he will do well. I mean, that is something that's
Yes, yes.
given with him.
He's a
Okay,
big match player. He's a big match
big match.
player. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's a good thing with them.
Now we move to the final team and possibly the strongest team in this in this IPL is Mumbai
Okay.
Indians, and I come to Suneet. Suneet, if there is one weakness that other teams can target, what can it be if they are playing MI?
I don't really see any weakness in that team because uh, all the players have come good, and even if their openers have failed, then their middle order starts performing. A, even the lower middle order of Pollard, Hardik Pandya has performed and won them matches, and their bowling has been one of the top notch amongst various teams. So all the three pacers have actually performed well in almost all games. And then Krunal Pandya also is coming good. Pollard has been able to pitch in. So Hardik Pandya not bowling is the only one thing that is not that they may not have planned for, and their strategy would have been to get at least 1 or 2 overs from him. So Pollard, whenever he comes, is something that other teams can look at to target. But Pollard has been bowling very intelligently and has been very
Hmm.
hard to hit. He's trying to just get those 2-3 overs very quickly so that he's just not got hit. So in that sense, I think they have all their bases covered, and Delhi found that out when they played them in the last match. So they'll be really tough to beat. It is more like in the playoffs, they just having one bad day and not being able
Somehow
to
I
win.
have this intuition that this loss of Delhi to Mumbai will really help Delhi a lot
Yes.
in the final leg of the tournament when they eventually play them possibly for the
Mm.
It was
semi-final of
actually
the.
it was like a
That-
Steffi Graf versus Monica Seles final.
yeah, exactly.
Like there were a lot of unforced errors from Seles, and ultimately Steffi won. And so the result is not indicative, but yeah. So there is a good matchup between these two teams actually. It will be a good. So
And
the return,
Manju, what are your views on possible points that can be targeted against MI? And do you think there is a case of Pollard coming higher up the order?
okay, they have always used Pollard at like 6 and 7. Like they've strongly believed in their analytics and their data. So I don't think they will disturb that anytime soon unless if there is a favorable matchup to send him above. Only Rohit's form, if he as and when he hits form, it will become a even more lethal side. Right now, Rohit slate is being bailed out by the other batsmen who are doing very well. Whether it is Kishan or Surya or even Krunal, they are all coming good. And also maybe they may need to add to spin armory if at all they decide to change the combination. They may need another spinner in some pitches like slower wickets, or like if Sharjah is getting low, they want to add an extra spinner. So they can go for like Abhinav's favorite Prince Balwant Rai is there. So
So
I think, yeah, I mean, to add on to what Manju sir is saying, I mean, I've always believed that because I'm a diehard Mumbai fan and I study how their team works very closely. I mean, I look at so they are a team that, like Madhu sir said, they are the team that looks at the data and analytics the most carefully than by in front against all the sides. They use that very carefully, and they have a captain Rohit who believes in using data and
matchup.
matchups to to be able to outfox an opponent on the field, and he's tactically sharp enough to be able to execute those plans laid out in from those matchups and all that data to be able to execute that on the field. He does that very well. And the thing is with Rohit's form, like Manju sir said, it's going in. It's in a bit of a arithmetic progression. I mean, he's performing in every even game for them, and not in the odd numbered games. So I mean, in the second, fourth, and the sixth games, he's had scores, high double-digit scores. I mean, he's got about 30 and two above 50 scores in those. So I think that is one. But here's the thing: I think Mumbai's best seasons have always been ones where it is not been one person taking it through. It has always been a bit of a collective performances being spread out across the collective group. That every game there'll be a different player who will put their hand up and say that I'll take the team through. Against RCB, Ishan took them right onto the doorstep. I mean, from the situation they were in, he almost took them through. Against Sunrisers Hyderabad, it was that finishing kick that Krunal Pandya gave them towards the end, and that 1 for 35 of 4 overs in Sharjah, which was a goldmine spell. Then against Delhi, it was the two. It was De Kock and Surya Kumar Yadav with Krunal Pandya offering them super role in the middle overs. And Rahul Chahar started looking a little slow, but he's starting to come into his own in the IPL this season again. He's giving them very critical spells in the middle overs. He's being used very intelligently as well by Rohit. I mean, and Krunal too. I think Krunal's best way to use Krunal as a T20 bowler is to start bowling him a bit towards the power play overs, because he'll be able to. Because he can get the control, he can immediately start establishing control over them, because he's smart enough to be able to execute a captain's plans out on the field with his bowling. He knows his limitations.
If you had to bring in Jayant Yadav, like how do you fit him, or like
okay,
if you want a finger spinner in the first place?
Okay, so
because they play 8 games at Abu Dhabi and they are a pace dependent. Yeah. So maybe for a Sharjah or some other game, would you consider?
I would definitely be considering Jayant Yadav with some, and they may look at wanting to maybe rest Pattinson in a few games, maybe. I mean, probably. To see if they could use that card and play maybe 3 overseas players only. Maybe just use the 3 overseas players, or bring in maybe use Jayant Yadav out in that game, and maybe and if need be, if they want to accommodate somebody like Shafin Rutherford, then leave out an Indian batsman and use Shafin Rutherford towards the middle order, and maybe somebody who will also give them a couple of overs of medium pace. So I think that's one way they can use Jayant Yadav, because Jayant Yadav again a very canny off spinner. He'll bowl those tight spells in the power play a bit like Washington Sundar. He's a bit like a Washington Sundar in that regard, because he bowls very tight off lines in the power play, and he does not give away a lot of runs. So that's been a very good thing about with Jayant, and Mumbai used him as a matchup. He's always a matchup player by Mumbai for to target particular weaknesses
They may actually use exactly. They may use against Delhi Capitals, where they have Hetmeyer and Pant both.
Exactly. Last year at the Kotla, they brought in Jayant Yadav for that game. They played Jayant Yadav as a third spinner in that game too, because that Delhi lineup had Dhawan, Colin Munro, Pant, and Akshar Patel in the top 7. So they used as a power play off spinner, and he got them a 4 overs 27 spell. So he's known for doing that, and he does that. He knows what he has to do, and he does that very well. So with Mumbai, I think that's the way they can use. But I think Mumbai's greatest strength has always the best seasons for Mumbai have always been those where they've had 2 quality overseas teaming in from both ends. 2013 Malinga and Johnson. 15 it was Malinga, McClenaghan. 17 Malinga with Malinga, McClenaghan, Johnson. One of those two, and now they have Bumrah as well. So those have and last year they had Malinga, McClenaghan, Alzari, Joseph, Berendorf, and all these guys. It was a combination of that, and this has worked very well for Mumbai. I think underratedly, along with Henrik Nokia, one of the best replacement signings that have been made this season. I mean, James Pattinson has given. I think a lot of people had been questioning why they did not go in for an overseas spinner, but I think Mumbai have shown that they always work best by having overseas pacers. And
They've stuck to
Pattinson
their
is
strength.
a very
Yeah.
good. They stuck to their strength, and Pattinson
And
is a
even
very
the,
good bowler of the hard
Abu
length.
Dhabi,
He bowls those heavy balls very well
yeah.
because
No,
he's
because
got the.
at Abu Dhabi so far, what's happening is like they have not been scared to pitch it up, and something is happening from a length. So you see a
Yes.
few wickets of Bumrah are like almost like the test matches, you know, the batsman playing for the incoming and getting caught with the keeper or first slip.
Yes.
Right.
Their biggest strength has been that the three pacers for Mumbai have been bowling the trade test match lengths, and that has been winning the wickets. Bolt has been pitching on that off-stump corridor for uncertainty and bringing the ball back into the right-handers, and that's how he got Prithvi Shaw. He knew that he was not going to move his feet a lot, so he was constantly getting the ball to pitch in that off-stump channel and just curve back into him, so that he uses his lack of foot movement to force him to play a shot that he does not want to play. So that and Bolt has been one of the best bowlers. I mean, the way he's gotten those crucial wickets in the power play has always been Mumbai's strategy. They need that left arm. They need that one pacer who always gives them the breakthroughs in the power play. Last year
Also,
it was
they
Berendorf. Before that it's
haven't,
been McClenaghan and all.
they haven't been very predictable. Also, they have been quite
Exactly.
canny with the very like we don't see
They've
Mumbai overusing
varied their
those-
lengths around.
Yeah. So they're not
I mean,
overusing.
Pattinson
Yeah.
varies his lengths around very well. He's a guy who actually bowls those heavy balls very well. He's a heavy ball bowler. He hits those hard length with his pace of the in that 140 region. He gets the ball to do a few things. I mean, jumping a batsman at a slightly uncomfortable height, but he's varied those lengths very well. He's used heavy balls that are full pitched up and swinging and getting the swing. Bumrah looked a little rusty in the few first games, but he's now starting to click back into form. So I think they coming for Mumbai. I mean, Surya Yadav has put up his hand in a couple of games. Ishan Kishan has gotten them over, has scored for them in a few games. Krunal Pandya has given them a few performances. Hardik and Pollard have come out and finished a few innings out strongly. Rohit has won them a couple of games on own. And now is fine form, because that was so critical for them, because otherwise Pant to Delhi, De Kock is to Mumbai. De Kock is that pace setter for at the top of the order for Mumbai, because if De Kock starts to fire, Rohit knows he can hold back and just take the game, take the innings as deep as possible, float towards the late inning. So De Kock coming back to form has been a
So now we
great
if we,
sign for them. And maybe they do not.
okay. Now if we have now completed roundup of all the 8 teams, and to conclude, I think we have already gone beyond our timelines. I think this is such a interesting topic that I think we can go on discussing this for another 8 hours and hours and hours. But considering the deadline that Suneet had set in, I'll just ask one last question to each one of you, and we can start with Suneet. Who are your top 4 predictions from now, from going forward? Who are your top 4? And you have to factor in possible pitches now becoming slower and slower as we go ahead. Top 4.
So I think for me, the current top 4 will remain. And I think KKR is a strong team, and the top 3 that are currently there, they have been able to find the right balance and right squad. So they will definitely be now qualifying for the playoffs. And I think KKR with their middle order, I would back them to be the 4th team.
Manju?
Yeah, I'll go for a different one. I'll choose Mumbai, Delhi, and Bangalore. They are looking settled, and we may have wild card against CSK at the spot number 4.
Safe play, Manju, considering where you're stationed.
Location,
Abhinav, location
I'll
matters.
go with
services have turned
I'll go
on.
Manju sir's. I'll go with Manju sir's prediction. Mumbai, Delhi, RCB in that order, and CSK is going to make it towards the end of the by the end of the league stage. They will make it to the playoff. It's been Dhoni. It's always trademark Dhoni. He starts slow, but I mean he'll just find a bit of the kick that he'll just start finishing. That CSK will finish. So I think they will make it to the playoff. I mean, them not making it to a playoff would be surprising. They will. They'll definitely. They'll sneak this past SRH and KKR into fourth. And it'll not be surprising if they somehow manage to win the IPL. I am a diehard Mumbai supporter. Destiny and all plays a lot of plays a bit of a role, and I think somewhere Destiny is going to work in Dhoni's favor again. I mean, maybe wanting to give him a bit of a high before his eventual retirement.
So my top four, 1, 2, 3. I think we are all agree on that. My mind says KKR, but I think 1.3 billion hearts, and even my heart says that it will be CSK. So let's hope it's CSK. We do want to see the last hurrah from Dhoni. So
the last roar.
Yeah.
Last roar. So thank you guys. Thank you Manju. Thank you Abhinav. This was a fantastic discussion, and for the role reversal, thank you Sunit.
Yeah.
For
no, you need a flexible middle order, no? So you have to reverse the role.
Yeah, I know.
You have that. You have the recipes. You have the success recipe for making a good IPL team. It's flexible enough.
Right.
So thank you guys. I'll